Hello, everyone. Hello. I thought this would be an excellent day to talk to you about books as travel. You can see from the background, I really wish I were here on the beach with the palm trees blowing, that I'm thinking about travel and missing it, and yet at the same time recognizing that it's not something we can do at the moment. So I have a few books here that I thought I'd mention that can take you to interesting times and places. The first one, Andrew Wilson, I Saw Him Die, comes out in July. Wilson is writing a series about Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie, when she was at the outset of her career, Agatha Christie as she disappeared, Agatha Christie in this book, as she is now preparing for her marriage to the archaeologist Max Mallowan, and she's traveled to Scotland. They actually did get married in Edinburgh, but she has been recruited to go on a mission with British intelligence to the island of Skye, where someone is receiving death threats and British intelligence wants to protect them. So what we have really is a classic country house murder set in, let me think here, what year are we in? I've sort of forgotten. Anyway, 1930s Scotland. And it's a wonderful opportunity to visit the Highlands in Skye at a time before mass tourism and mass travel, and to enjoy a version of an Agatha Christie country house murder where Mrs. Christie herself ends up solving the crime. Next book is like nothing I have ever read before. It's by Valérie Perrin. It's called Freshwater for Flowers, translated to the French. This might be the most immersive book I have read in years. In fact, I was so completely stunned with it and immersed in it that I put everything else aside for an entire day to finish it. It's not a classic mystery. There is a husband who disappears. There is a daughter whose death at a summer camp is never fully explained. A mother who started life very badly, then had a spell as a railway crossing keeper with her husband, where her duty was to go out and raise and lower the gates for passing trains. And eventually she became a cemetery keeper. So her job was to guard the cemetery and tend to its grounds. And she took it on herself to record what actually happened at funerals, the speeches people that made the attendance, and knows where all the graves are. And a detective comes into her life, a private eye from Marseille. Or no, he's not a private eye, sorry, he's a policeman from Marseille. And he's there because his mother has left an inexplicable request that she be buried next to what seems like a total stranger in the cemetery. So those are the ingredients to this story that is told in various points of view. And as I said, it's like nothing else I have ever read. I absolutely loved it. Next, still French, we get to go back not only to France, but back to the 17th century. For any of you who've read The Three Musketeers, you probably conceived a real dislike for Milady, who is the villainess in that wonderful book. This is a different look at Milady by Laura L. Sullivan. And while she is a seductress, and this is a swashbuckling adventure, it approaches it in a completely different way. Milady was, in fact, English by birth, and how she ends up playing the role that she does in France at the court of Louis XIII and Anne of Austria, whom you may recall were the monarchs of the Three Musketeers, the evil Cardinal Richelieu, the gray eminence, the eminence grise, Cardinal Mazarin. It's always been a wonderful cast, and this casts a whole new look at that wonderful book. It's not a mystery, but I think of anything that is adventure, thriller. It's a thriller, really, is falling under sort of a large umbrella of crime fiction. Final book I want to mention is called The Safe Place by Anna Dance, an Australian. Well, she lives in Australia, but obviously has spent a lot of time in England, a former actress. And this is a book in which a down on her luck actress in London just cannot seem to make it through an audition. Nothing is going right in her life. And by chance, she meets a kind of a tech billionaire who offers her a position at his very remotely located home in the south of France, caring for his daughter. His wife is also there. So our heroine, Emily, being desperate, agrees to the job and is really titillated by both the man and all his money. It's really hard to resist the pull of enormous wealth, even if it's never going to be yours. There's just something about super rich people that, what can I say? They're rather magnetic. Anyhow, off she goes to the south of France and has an example of domestic suspense. This plays out in various completely unexpected ways. So there you have it. You get a chance to go to Scotland, you get to go back in time, and 3 of them, strangely enough, turn out to be in France. But then again, I think France is a place that I truly miss. So I'm not surprised that I end up there with these books. Thanks for joining me.